leadership journeys are never a straight line. It is made of the culture we experience, the experiences we take, and the choices we make as we go along the journey. I'm delighted to welcome Sunil Deshmukh, a USA CMA and seasoned global leader with more than 3 decades of experience across diverse industries and geographies. Today, Sunil serves as a global chair emeritus and director of Institute of Management Accountants, IMA USA. He is an executive leadership coach and is an independent board director for many organizations. What makes this conversation particularly compelling is because today's focus is on how he was helping leaders make sense of complexity, navigate uncertainty, and lead with resilience. Hello, Sunil. Welcome to the show. I'm so excited today, especially to learn about your purpose trail. It's like a great opportunity. So thank you. Thank you for showing up. I'm going to straight jump into a question. You have been for almost 3 decades in the corporate space, seen it all, done it all. If you have to look back with all your experience, is there a thread that you can see that ties all of these, little experiences that you've taken in that entire big journey?
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me, Urmila. I really appreciate, and it's fun always to talk in front of the camera. And happy to be with you. When you said thread, I remember I tried to create a thread over a period of time. What happens when you are young and you are growing up in a leadership ladder, you do not see those threads. But as you grow up in the ladder, and when you reflect back and start thinking, you see a common theme. And that's what I call a thread.
Yes.
And that common theme, then you know that this has worked for me. This has not worked for me. How do I ensure that I continue this theme over a period of time?
Yeah.
And you say that I have seen it all, I have done it all. I won't agree with that.
Okay.
I have yet to do a lot of things in my life. But yeah, it is a fascinating journey to start from a very small town, not knowing the English as a first language, and then eventually getting into leadership position. It is fascinating journey. It was challenging, definitely. Was it tough? I think it was very tough. It was not a straight up. There were ups and downs. So every single past mistakes, how can you overcome them and do not repeat those mistakes?
Okay, so the common thread is to allow yourself to get into a newer situation and learn if there is a mistake and there is always a lesson, something like that?
So common theme, I use the terminology or a code that when you don't get what you want to get, when you don't get what you want to get, what you get is an experience.
Awesome.
So you have to learn from that experience. And many of us do not learn from experience. And I think that was the common thread for me. The education is the theme. And when I say education, I mean implicit knowledge as well as explicit knowledge. Both are equally important. When you come into the corporate world, you come with the explicit knowledge, which could be your engineering degree, your chartered accountancy, or whatever it is. But when you get into the management and leadership, it's the implicit knowledge that takes you further. And one need to understand the correlation between the explicit knowledge and implicit knowledge. And that's the beauty of leadership.
Wow. What a great segue to the next question that I have on the ladder, which is in the space of leadership and sense making. And when you say explicit and implicit, I have not seen leaders talking about their experiences in the sense making space. So what is it all about when you say leadership and sense making?
Yeah, this is a topic which is very close to my heart. And I still remember a common sense to an uncommon degree. Common sense to an uncommon degree is what world calls wisdom.
Awesome.
That's the quote. And for some reason, I was always thrilled by the terminology called common sense, right from my young age. And as I grew up in a corporate world, I realized that common sense is interpreted as a sense making, but there is a difference, right? There is a American behavioral scientist by name Carl Weick. Carl Weick has created or he has written a lot on sense making, and I have also done some research. But sense making is, in a simple terms, is making sense of what's happening around you and what's happening within you. And here, when I say within you, means within your organization, not within you as an individual.
Okay.
Those who are able to connect the dots, interpret the dots, and make sense out of that and take the decision, that's sense making. And sense making is not taught to us academically anywhere.
Yes.
We all learn sense making by being there or being experienced. But how to interpret sense making in a corporate world, I think there is a science behind that.
Okay.
And one need to learn that, one need to understand that.
Okay. Interesting. So sense making is a common sense, but at a degree of wisdom. What a lovely quote. When you're saying that, there is nothing that is taught in the sense making space, how do you want people, especially who are newly entering the career or leadership ladder, to look at building their muscle for sense making?
So one is sense making, or let's use the word now, corporate sense making, so that
Makes
we
sense.
differentiate between.
Makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense. So corporate sense making in every single organization, it happens unknowingly.
Yes.
I'm saying it should happen knowingly.
Correct.
That's number one. So how do you handle the corporate sense making? One is, it's a job or responsibility of a leader of an organization to ensure that there are right type of people around you. You have to bring right type of people in a room or in a settings where they are allowed to discuss things in a very open-ended manner.
Yeah.
Like a brainstorming session.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll give a very simple example of a sense making. Let's suppose I know you're a checker. You go for a checking, right? When you go for a checking, you carry all the equipments, all the satellite phone, mobile phone, or your walking stick, nice shoes, everything is with you, right? And you have a weather forecast in your hand.
Yes.
You go on the peak. Let's
Yes.
say you've gone to the base camp of Himalayas and now you're going on to the peak. And once you reach the peak, weather changes suddenly. Your any single instrument, equipment, whatever you're carrying with you stops working or does not give you the right signals. Now, this is a very typical scenario, what happens in the corporate world and what happens in a checking.
I can relate
you
to
can
it,
relate
yes.
that. At that point of time, when you are at the peak, how do you come out of that situation? That is a sense making.
Yes.
Now, as a leader in an organization, you are exactly in the same situation. So what comes into your knowledge or what comes into an experience or what comes to your rescue is the leadership abilities of the leader, his ability to work with the team, give the confidence to the team that we will come out of these things, and your past experience.
Yeah.
All these things you have to combine together and lead the team and come home safely or come down to the base camp safely. Corporate sense making is exactly the same. Let's take today's world. There is so much uncertainty, there is so much volatility, and so many things are changing overnight, I would say that.
Yes.
A leader's job, and I have written very recently an article about that, is how a leader need to think like a diplomat in today's world. Diplomacy is not taught in the corporate world.
Agreed.
I am very openly saying a time has come in the B schools, in the management schools, that we need to start teaching a diplomacy to our leaders now. Now, this is a sense making.
Yeah.
Now, in a situation, let's say I'm a leader and I'm running an organization. I have not learned diplomacy, but now I need to quickly learn diplomacy, what is applicable to my organization, how it is going to change. So you have to make use of multiple resources available to you, maybe chambers of commerce, think tanks. You have to bring all different minded people in one room, start talking about how it's going to impact us, and then create a sense out of that. And this is called connecting the dots in the language of Carl Weick or sense making. I think this is an art, science, and commerce.
Yes.
There's big commerce behind that. But I think corporate sense making has become a very important topic for leaders to be successful in today's volatile and uncertain world.
Thank you for sharing that. You work with many, organizations, but more importantly, many cultures. You have almost covered the whole world in terms of, touching and, really creating an impact in the places where you have been. So, how do you really look at tying a knot of being a leader and these multiple cultures that you've experienced? What is it that you want to say on that?
So every culture taught me different things, right? I have lived and worked in more than 5 countries and traveled maybe 40, 50 countries. I have not kept the count nowadays. But every culture taught me different things to be a successful, first as a leader, because I was a corporate leader, and then to be a successful as a good human being also.
Yeah.
I think that was the big learning which sort of humbled me from my roots and going into multiple countries. And it really taught me that how culture can play a huge role. And there's a famous saying, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And all.
Yes.
Culture is one such thing, again, no one teaches you.
Yeah.
You have to live in that and you have to quickly adapt to that.
Yes.
So adaptation is a key to culture, number one. Number two is you have to unlearn a lot of things when you get into a new culture.
Agree.
So you carry your value systems or your way of working. Let's say I come from India and let's say I go into whatever country. I need to understand that what has worked for me in India in a particular culture is not necessarily will work that way only in that culture. No, that awareness, it's a big thing. And many people fail on that. They try to copy paste, in our today's language, copy paste. What worked for me in India should work for me in any country. And when it doesn't happen, frustration comes in. And then people start blaming the organization, the society,
Yeah.
the people, the
Yeah.
processes.
Yeah.
But it's that nuance of catching that differentiation in your culture and their culture and adopting a common platform where you can work successfully. And big thing which I would say that different cultures taught me different things, but one big thing I learned is that patience is a key to learn the culture, number one. Number two, do not assume what worked for you in past will always work for me in the future.
Makes
so
sense.
that unlearning is very, very important.
Yeah.
And there are so many other things that, and nowadays, luckily, you have technology available to you. Whenever you go into the new, let's say, geography, you can study. When I went first time abroad, there were no internets
I
available.
know.
There were no books available.
Yeah.
I didn't know any person in that country who has gone there. It was a tough situation. Today, world it changed. You have a lot of data, a lot of information.
Yeah.
Read that and then go into it.
I remember when we started traveling, we had a book called Lonely Planet
Yep.
that probably helped most of us
Yes.
when we looked at a new territory to enter
Yep.
in terms of, a lot of information available in a small booklet.
Yeah.
And that Lonely Planet takes me to the next question, loneliness
Yeah.
and executive loneliness.
Wow.
And I know that you have expertise there. I would like to, touch this into a deeper level because I'm sure there are many people in our listeners who are experiencing loneliness, even though not at an executive level. At any level of the career ladder, today we experience loneliness.
Yep.
So if you could throw some light on that part as well.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you very much for asking this question. Even if you would not have asked me this question, I would have requested you to ask this question. Because I personally think that mental health is very, very important for all of us. And mental health, I made a statement very recently in one of the interviews in US that mental health is an equal opportunity destroyer. What does that mean is that you cannot say that I am a leader in an organization, nothing is going to happen to me. I need to be taking care of only my white collar people or blue collar people in my office, and the psychological safety and psychological capital applies to them and not to me. That's the very wrong way of looking at it. Executive loneliness is one thing which you will never come to know that it is hitting you. So a leader, and we always say that leader is always lonely at the top. Yes, that's fact, it's lonely at the top. But knowing that you are going through an executive loneliness, that awareness is a big thing. And the triggers of that are also very important. How do I know that I'm going through the executive loneliness? And of course, this is a psychological topic. I don't want to dwell too much into psychology. But every leader needs to think that is he or she going through executive loneliness? Simple tips or triggers. Yeah, simple tips or triggers. If you're supposed to go home every day at, let us say, 7 o'clock from the office, you're sitting in the office every day up to 9 o'clock, means there is some problem.
Okay.
Or you're eating food more than what you're supposed to eat, means there is a problem. You're spending too much time in the gym. Instead of running on a treadmill for 40 minutes, you suddenly started running on a treadmill for 1 hour. It means there is some problem. These are some of the triggers I'm telling you. But you should, as a leader, you should do this litmus test on a continuous basis, at least every quarter. And what you need for this is, if you are feeling that there is some sort of unease in me, in my life, ask your spouse, ask your partner, but you should be surrounded by right type of people around you. And when I say right type of people, I do not mean that your colleagues, your board of directors, or your employees, right type of friends, or the people who work at a similar level. And you should not think that how can I discuss my vulnerability in front of the people. I always make it a statement that vulnerability is our strength and not our weakness.
Yeah.
If you as an individual, as a leader, thinking that you are likely to go or going through some sort of loneliness, talk to someone. There is no other alternative than talking to someone else. And that stigma that how can I speak this to someone, I'm a leader, how people will look at me. And that's why it's called loneliness. You cannot, as a leader, you cannot talk to your board of directors. You cannot talk to your chairman. You cannot talk to your departmental heads. So you need to have a system or a mechanism with whom you can go and talk.
As we go through life, I'm sure there are difficulties in balancing everything. And especially when you get to a corporate ladder, get to a demanding role, somewhere you compromise on certain aspects of you. It could be family front, it could be your own hobbies front, it could be anything, your own health front. So that litmus test is something that is very interesting, that you're trying to see yourself and see whether your patterns have changed.
And who will keep track of this pattern is a big question mark. Leaders are busy. They don't have time to do all these things. But these type of patterns only you can recognize. Worst case scenario, your spouse may recognize. But there is no one else to recognize. So you
something
have
inside you is
something inside. So you need to have that reflection time, or we call nowadays me time. Sit once in a week, talk to yourself. Am I having some problem? What I have done last week? What worked for me? What didn't work for me? And journal it down. And when you create a journal over a period of 1 month, 2 months, on a weekly basis, or whatever, every alternate day basis, if that journaling shows you some sort of pattern, even I'll tell you a small example. Instead of eating 1 chapati or 1 bread, I have suddenly started eating 3 breads. And if this keeps repeating on a regular basis, it means there is a pattern.
So body is giving you signals.
Body is giving you signals.
Yeah.
You are doing too much exercise on a treadmill or in a gym. Originally, you used to enjoy only 1 hour in gym. Now suddenly you are spending 2 hours in the gym.
Yeah.
Why is this happening? Why are you exercising so much? Are you trying to forget something which is triggering you, or which is giving you a problem?
Yeah.
We tend to do something in excess when we have some sort of
absence of something,
or we have some sort of issue and we want to forget that issue. So we overdo something else.
What a beautiful learning here. I mean, I was always thinking that, if you do a healthy habit like workout or, doing something that works for you, even if you overdo, it doesn't matter, it's a good thing only finally at the end of the day. But you have brought a very interesting point here that...
So there is anything in excess is bad. There is a very nice Sanskrit shloka. I don't know, I can recite it here.
Of course you can.
There is a very nice Sanskrit shloka which it says like that. Ati parichayat vadnya santata gamana danadaro bhavati malaya parvate bhillasya purandri chandanam tarukashtam indhanam kurute. And I'll tell you what does it mean.
Yes.
Ati parichayat vadnya means anything too much.
Yeah.
Too much acquaintance, too much knowing something, too much doing something is not good for us.
Yes.
And the example is given is that in a particular mountain called Malaya Parvat, Malaya Mountain, those tribal people, they are using sandalwood as their firewood. That is too much acquaintance. For them, it's a wood of a tree. And I need to cook something. And that's the tree available to me. I cut and I use that as a firewood. That is called Ati Parichayat Vadnya.
Yeah.
So don't do anything in excess in your life. But beauty is knowing that you are doing in excess. And that borderline is the trick of trade. Knowing that borderline.
Awesome. You are an executive coach and you are a mentor for many. And I have seen that, you have also mentioned a lot of times that you have many, many mentors for yourself.
Yes.
So, which is a very rare combination that you reach to a point where you are seen as a topmost person, where people are seeking guidance from you, seeking coaching from you, and you're still saying, I'm in that space of wanting to be, reaching out to my own mentors, my coaches.
Yeah.
Would you talk a little bit about that, and does that help in this space of loneliness?
Yes and no. So the concept of mentoring is not new to Indian culture. And we call it a Guru Shishya Parampara. That's a little bit extended way of mentoring at a little bit different level, but sort of same thing. And we have in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna was a mentor, was a consultant, was a counselor, was a coach, was a friend of Lord Arjuna.
Yeah.
But in a corporate world, the terminology of mentorship has come of late in last 25 years, 30 years, I would say. When I came into the corporate world, this concept was not in existence. I always wanted to learn something new from everyone. So my hunger to learn attracted me towards people and finding what can I get from this person. And then I started looking in that person whether he could be my mentor.
Yeah.
Now, role of a mentor is to guide you,
Yeah.
to help you, to handhold you.
Agreed.
And everyone is not ready to do that.
Yes.
So I will choose which
Yeah.
person is ready to do that handholding with me. And I'm very happy to say that I have 7 mentors until now in last 30 years. And every single mentor has added a huge value in my life. Now, I have also become a mentor. So this is a sort of giving back to
Yeah.
society,
Yeah.
that when I needed something, someone helped me. There are multiple people in this world who need a lot of knowledge, a lot of information, a lot of wisdom, a lot of handholding. So I am giving back to the society in my own way. And mentoring and coaching is a very, I call this profession as a pious profession. There's a little bit of, I know this word is a little bit loaded word, but there is a commitment towards society. You have achieved something in your life. Now time has come for you to give back to the society. And I do mentoring from that point of view. And it gives me immense satisfaction. I mean, the amount of satisfaction when I get when I mentor someone and he or she comes and says to me that because of your mentoring, I got a promotion, or because of mentoring, I passed through the most difficult transition in my life and phase my life. That satisfaction you cannot compare with the money or anything else.
Very true. Very true.
I request all the listeners of this podcast, my audience, you should have a mentor. If you do not have a mentor, after this podcast is over, just get back and start looking for a right mentor for you.
True.
And always remember that finding a right mentor is not speed dating. To find the right mentor, it takes time.
I like that.
Yeah, but look for a mentor, and we all need mentors at different stages of our life and different types of mentor. Not the same mentor will continue. You should have once a mentor, always a mentor.
Always a mentor.
But
yeah.
you always need a different type of mentor in different stages of your career.
Very true.
So create that mechanism, create that ecosystem, right?
I'm sure we both are in this coaching space where we have experienced people benefiting through the magic of coaching. But I still want to go deeper in that question of executive loneliness or professional loneliness. Have you experienced people in this coaching space coming to you and talking about it, and or is it still considered to be a stigma or a taboo?
I'll tell you yes and no. So what is the role of a coach? The role of a coach is to ask right questions.
Yes.
Right? If you ask the right question and you had a great chemistry session with your coachee or mentee at the beginning, the person in front of you will open up, right? And you have to ask question in a right way, in a right manner, at the right time. Over half an hour, 1 hour, 45-minute discussion, you will start realizing that there is something happening here. And it's a eureka moment, not for a coach, but it's a eureka moment for the coachee, suddenly knowing that, hey, am I going through a problem? Now, that awareness, creating that awareness is a role of a coach.
Perfect.
But you have to be there. You have to listen actively. You have to be present there. And you have to dance with the coachee, as we say, right?
Yeah.
And I have found during my coaching sessions, multiple people are not aware of the traumas they are carrying in their head and their mind. And when you have a very nice coaching conversation, people start realizing that they are carrying that trauma for a very long time, and they were not even aware of that trauma.
Yeah, yeah.
And these type of conversations help them to open up and overcome that trauma.
Yeah.
See, a trauma or any sort of executive loneliness, depression, anxiety needs to be spoken out.
Yeah.
You cannot keep it inside.
Yeah.
The more you keep it inside, the
won't
more
help.
it grows,
Yeah.
right? Or
Yeah.
creates more problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you are giving a venting out, or you are giving a platform for them to speak up. Once you give that platform for speaking up or expressing thoughts and views, I think they will feel much subtle, much lighter, and the vulnerability goes off. They start talking. But I have seen, if I have coached 10 CXO level people, out of 10, maybe 6 or 7 people are going through executive loneliness and they are not aware.
That's a huge number, Sunil.
Huge number, huge number. But this number increases substantially if you go to the younger Gen Z level of coaching. There I will not call it executive loneliness. There will call it
It is
some
more of
different
a
terminology.
professional, corporate
More of a
loneliness.
anxiety or whatever. And that number is much, much higher.
Yeah. You just mentioned briefly that you have studied psychology. This is another thing that I'm so much curious about. You are a finance expert. Come on, give me a break. I've seen so many finance professionals. They are good with numbers. What was it that got you here?
So yeah, to cut the long story short, so I worked as a finance leader, and you're right, I was a chief financial officer of multinational companies roughly for 17 years. I would always think that the most difficult problem in my department or in my company, be it relating to finance or not relating to finance, I will take a lead and go and handle it. And most of the time, I'll become successful. Out of 10 times, if I attempt 10 times, 8 times I will come as successful. So I used to ask a question to myself that this was not my domain. Why I took an initiative in this area, and people will laugh at me. So this question I was asking myself to almost 20 years. Over a period of my reflection, I realized that I understand human behavior a little better than other people or my colleagues. That's number one. Second thing, I realized that I am comfortable with the people and people are comfortable with me. So this has created more confusion that why does this happen with me and why does this not happen with someone else? And that made me to think about psychology. And I did a graduation in applied positive psychology. I went into positive psychology, not in a psychology, but it's same.
Yeah.
And when I studied psychology, I thought that this is my lost girlfriend I have been searching for the last 40 years.
You're talking the Gen Z language. I like that.
I really means I was like a young kid going to the nursery or whatever, kindergarten. He or she does not know where they are going, but they just enjoy. My psychology classes, I was enjoying. I was the youngest in a real sense. I was the oldest in my class. Every single person in my class was, I would say, Gen Z. And I was maybe double the age of those people. But my enthusiasm and, of course, because of experience and all those things, but I thoroughly enjoyed my psychology. And that made me to think. Then, of course, I became a counselor, and coaching was a natural transition to that, from psychology to coaching. But given a chance and opportunity to learn something new, I will go for psychology. I advise a lot of young students to study psychology. Don't run after the computer sciences and artificial intelligence. There are enough people running after that. You do something different, something new. And with the AI, technology and everything, the need will multiply and multiply.
Human-centric leaders at the top make a huge difference in the way the organization runs. I would love to hear your insights into this part of leadership.
Yeah, and thanks for asking this question, because I firmly believe that number one is leaders should know themselves that they are humans first, and they should know that they are only dealing with humans in an organization. So that
Well said.
awareness is very, very important.
Yes.
Even though you have a tech-driven world, tech-enabled organization, but the work is managed and done by the people.
Yeah.
And basic definition of manager or management is to get the work done from people.
Yeah.
And the word people is very, very important. The terminology human-centric leadership was not very popular maybe 3 decades back. leaders were seen as autocratic leaders. And it was assumed that if a leader is human-centric leader, it means he or she is not a good leader. I'm happy it has changed in last 3 decades. People respect people, that has been working. But one of the most important thing I think has come up in last 2 decades is that when a leader needs to get work done from the people, the respect is very important.
Yeah, yeah.
And respect is value, by the way.
Yeah.
And I think this value was missing for a very long time in the corporate world.
Very true.
That has come up in a better way now. And I have seen in today's world, there is a respect to the people, respect to the people to people, leader to leader, leader to peers, leader to manager. All stakeholders are respected.
Yeah.
What is very important when you say human-centric leadership is the concept. 2-3 areas I want to use the concept, but one is definitely empathy. Human beings get attached, connected because of the empathy with each other. Second thing is kindness. Now, kindness is one such thing which we as a human beings should never forget that. And I thought the kindness came at a very late stage in the leadership. When I came into the corporate world, if a leader is kind, it means he or she is not a leader. That was a clear definition. And that didn't work out. Many people or many leaders who failed in their leadership game, I use the word game, because they were not kind with the people, they were not empathetic with the people, and they were not respecting the people. And I think these 3 aspects of kindness, empathy, and respect are very, very important in a human-centric leadership. Today's world, I could see that majority of the leaders value people, respect people, they are empathetic toward people. And to an extent, I would say it is a blessing in disguise. The COVID, the lockdown has opened up a lot of things and people suddenly started respecting the human values. Yeah. So that was you can say, magic wand God has used to show the empathy, to show the kindness towards people. I would say a lot of good organization in today's world work towards the human-centric leadership. Technology has taken us apart from human-centric leadership. Now it's a different problem we are having. Most of the work is done by robots, by artificial intelligence, or by technology. How do you make a proper use of humans in this process and ensure that human-centric leadership exists?
In the last few years, we have seen that the need for respect and the awareness of respect is a fundamental value has shown up for many, many conversations and organizations. That brings a very important question. We talk about values. And I'm sure organizations have their own set of, values. But how important it is for you to have your personal values, and how does that correlate with the success in the leadership space?
So this is a very interesting question, and I have done a lot of work on my own, in my own interest when I was in leadership. I personally think that there are 2 independent things. Personal values and corporate values are 2 independent variables.
True.
The biggest problem in the corporate world, what happens is when your personal values conflict with corporate values, then you start not liking your job, not liking your boss, not liking your organization. But the equilibrium of your personal value system and corporate value system needs to be arrived at by you as an individual. No HR head in the organization will come and tell you, hey, here is equilibrium for you on your personal values and organizational value. Never happens like that. So there are people who get confused, and there is nothing wrong in that, because we are not been taught values, but we get values through our upbringing.
Yes.
No one teaches you what the value means, how to respond to a value. No one teaches you.
Yeah.
Values are just created, seen in society, seen in the cultures, and then you create those. So values come from your unconscious mind, if I want to use the psychological term, right?
Makes sense.
And they are sort of imprinted in your brain or in your mind.
Yeah.
When you come to the organization, you suddenly see that there is a organization vision, mission, values, and objectives. And unfortunately, many organizations, values are only shown on the company's website or in a company's corporate office on the entrance at the reception. Very few organizations discuss those values with the employees during their induction. What does this value means, and how do you match your personal values with organizational values? Values play a huge role in your success, not only as a leader, but even as a human being. And I'm not saying the conflict of values may occur only in the organization. Conflict of values may occur at your home also.
Yeah, it is.
When people go through a divorce, and I'm giving a bad example, but it is mostly the conflict of values, right?
True.
So ability of human being, and I call adaptability to change and to gauge and change and adjust. And when I say adjust, does not mean compromise. There's a difference between adjustment and compromise, right? I'm saying you need to adjust your values to an extent that you can work with
Other person.
other person or other organization. But when you see that your values are not, you are not able to adjust your values, it's a time for you to think that this place is not for me. And that's a tough decision people cannot take.
Yeah.
Because from an organization, you get a salary, you get a respect, recognition,
Yeah.
position, money, you have family to run, but then you don't enjoy the job.
Yeah.
And then organization also suffers and individual also suffers.
Yeah.
So one need to be very careful on this value conflict management when you get, and that's why when you join a new organization, don't look at only their sales revenue and profitability and how good office is there and what type of benefits. Also look at their values. And my appeal to the HR managers of the world that when you interview the candidates, please explain them your corporate values.
Coming from a finance person, it's a big thing, Sunil.
Yes, awareness is very important. I have changed job in my life when there were conflict of my values. And I had not done compromise. I'm using word now compromise. When you have to compromise, it's time for you to call it a quit.
Yeah.
If you are able to adjust, you can move on.
Yeah.
But this clarity needs to come to the people.
So, can we say that some way or other values are non-negotiable, but you can adjust with other people in terms of certain habits, if at all those are becoming an issue?
Yeah, I would say some flexibility in the values is okay provided you have the guardrails in today's terminology, right? You have the boundaries fixed. If you are flexible within that, that is okay. But if it is exceeding those guardrails and boundaries, then obviously it's no. A lot of habits also come into the picture. And of course, there are multiple books on self-learning books on habits and all those things. But I think some basic simple habits we need to nurture in our life when you work into, of course, personal life is separate and corporate life is separate. But let's say, for example, time management. I always give this example of respecting the time. Again, respect is coming everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So if you do not respect the time of someone else, why someone else should respect your time?
Yeah.
There is a famous saying that if you go early for the meeting, you are wasting your time. And if you go late for the meeting, you are wasting someone else's time.
True.
So managing the time management is the best habit one need to learn very quickly in the corporate world. Commitment, time management, then adaptability. No, again, no one teaches us adaptability.
Yeah.
Right? I think COVID taught us about the adaptability is what does it mean. But same applies to you when you go into the corporate world also. So how are you adapting to the new organization structure, new boss, maybe new department, new people, and how quickly you are adapting is also very important. So these are some of the areas I can keep on talking on this for based on experience. But yeah.
Yeah. It goes back to the sense making and understanding the ecosystem.
Yeah, very true. It is all, I would say everything is common sense and sense making. And I always say that leadership, and I have given that example, is the common sense to an uncommon degree. That's leadership. Wisdom comes to you from where? And we were talking about respect, and I remember again a very famous Sanskrit shloka. Sanskrit
Please go
quote,
ahead.
and,
I love it.
I always like that. I studied Sanskrit at a school level, and I love that. And there is a very famous shloka which says that Swagrahe pujyate murkha Swagrame Pujyate Prabhu, Swadeshe Pujyate Raja, and Vidvana Sarvatra Pujyate. What does that mean is, at home, a fool is also respected.
Yeah.
Right? At a village or level, village officer is respected in that village because he or she is the boss there.
Yeah.
At a state level or country level, the king is respected because he or she runs the country or state.
Yeah.
But it's the only one, the guy who is educated, knowledge, he or she is respected everywhere.
True.
So if you want to get a respect in your life, first thing is knowledge is very important. Education is very important. And that is the respect to education cut across everywhere.
Yeah.
You can get respect and you can give respect unknowingly and knowingly because of knowledge and education.
Yeah, very true.
And that's where we call knowledge economy and all those things. We say that.
You become even more humble
Become
as
more
you
humble,
learn
yeah.
more. Yeah.
As you get more educated, you get more knowledge, you get respect, but you also become humility, your humbleness has to creep in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Arrogance should not creep in with the knowledge and education. Humbleness should creep in.
I think you spoke very beautifully about maintaining a journal and
Yes.
looking at some of the, your own patterns.
Yeah.
But do you also see that in this space, leaders have to watch out or look at some amount of, reflective spaces?
So this is a big area of concern, that our biggest problem as a human being is we think we are not accountable to ourselves. No, accountability, responsibility, these are big terms, right? And as a leader, I will always expect that my CFO is accountable, my HR manager is responsible for it. So everyone is else.
Yeah.
What about me?
Correct.
Right? So, for example, a CEO is accountable to the, let us say, board of directors or shareholders. But the same leader is also accountable to himself.
Yeah.
And that self-accountability is a concept which need to be taught. How it comes, from where it comes. And that's where the journaling helps you. Or there are multiple examples. I can quote Marshall Goldsmith gives these examples very often, that his personal secretary calls him every day evening and asks him what has he done today and what are the action points to be taken. Now this is accountability created by him.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one is saying that you can't do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you do not understand your own accountability towards yourself, there is a problem. And that awareness is the most difficult awareness I have seen in the world. It comes with experience, it comes with knowledge, but I think it also comes with having a right type of coach, a right type of mentor telling you that why it is necessary for you to do it.
Many things that you just spoke about, the values, the habits, you have lived them, Sunil. And one of such example is your interaction with Marshall Goldsmith's office. If you could narrate that story for our audience, I know about it because you have spoken about it earlier, but I want to really once again hear it out.
No, it's an interesting story, but of course, first of all, Marshall Goldsmith is one of my mentor, and I'm a certified in Marshall Goldsmith Stakeholder Center Coaching. I recently released a book called Videshmukhi, which there is a foreword given by Marshall Goldsmith to this book.
Yeah,
So
I've seen that.
What else for a person like me is bigger than this thing in my life, right? So it's a huge, huge, huge respect again.
Yeah.
And of course, thanks to Marshall and his team. But the story which I'm going to tell you is maybe a different story which you are not aware.
Okay.
I don't know which one I told you.
Much more curious then.
So I used to do Marshall Goldsmith Stakeholder Center coaching course. I was going through the training program and all those things. And Marshall was not teaching us that time. Someone else was teaching. I don't want to name the person, but so we were discussing about the 360-degree performance feedback and all those things. That was one of the topic for discussion. And when it came to the discussion in my class, and of course there's a methodology, process, everything is laid down. So what I told them in my class, to the teacher, professor, whatever you want to say, is that the methodology, what you have laid down in a Marshall Goldsmith Stakeholder Center coaching about how to give a 360-degree feedback needs to be changed. And there was, of course, no one likes when you say that there is something not working here. But thankfully, They were very open and they were very positive. So tell me,
Okay.
what is that?
Huh.
And then I told them that when you give a 360-degree feedback, what should be done, what should not be done, how it should be done, something like that.
Huh.
I don't want to get into the nitty-gritties.
Yeah.
But that was accepted wholeheartedly. And later on, they made that minor change in their teaching system, that how to give the 360-degree feedback, particularly at a CXO level and senior level. But that shows again, a respect.
Yeah.
A different perspective was accepted,
Yeah.
whereas there was a history of so much knowledge and expertise.
Yeah.
But that also gave me a lot of confidence.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
one story.
Yeah.
And of course, there is a interview taken by.
Yeah, I was referring to that, the
You referred to
vulnerability
that.
part. Yeah.
I'm coming to that. So my interview was taken. There's a podcast available on YouTube by Brandon McGrath. Brandon is the CEO of Marshall Goldsmith Stakeholder Center Coaching. And he took my interview and I spoke about the vulnerability of the coaches. And that was like a big shocker to everyone, that how can Sunil talk on a podcast about his own vulnerabilities?
I know. But, honestly, I'm also touched. So I'm really keen on hearing again about what really was the behind the scene on the story where you agreed on a vulnerability topic. Not an easy thing to do at all.
I think I didn't agree on a vulnerability topic. On the as we were going, it just came in, and then it started, and then I was reminded that this is a podcast of Marshall Goldsmith. It will go on YouTube. You better choose a better topic. I said, no, I have chosen, I'll talk about vulnerability. And I literally spoke about how I failed as a coach, what mistakes I have made, how I assume a lot of things in the world, in the life, which is a wrong biases. I spoke about the biases, conscious biases, unconscious biases, even though I have studied all those things, but in real life, how I erred or how I made a mistake on that, and how I should not make it. It was a big reflection for me. And I can tell you over here, when that particular coaching session happened and when I realized that I have done some, I'm not talking about the podcast, but the person who I was coaching, I literally cried. How can I make this mistake in my life? And I was so upset with myself that, I was like, not in a mood to talk to anyone for 1 or 2 days. That
unconscious
bias. And then I realized that I have to overcome this.
Yeah.
Best way to overcome your unconscious bias or your mistakes is speak it out. To the public at large. It's okay.
No, I would definitely encourage our listeners to go through that podcast. I've gone through it. And it touched me so deeply. Firstly, the acknowledgement of, that I can go wrong as well. However, experienced I am, however senior I am, going beyond titles and boundaries and seeing things in an absolute way. And being so sensitive about it, and you are openly sharing about this crying part, which is also, one of the taboo for men, right? That how can a man cry? Or how can a leader cry? So you broke all those barriers, and that too at a level which was at an international level, which you knew that is going to go all over the place. But you said, no, this is me. I see where I can really show up as a human being. Again, human-centric leadership. What a beautiful example it was.
Thank you.
I know that we've been speaking about very serious stuff, very deep stuff. And it's very interesting, but at the same time, we want to make sure we keep the mood light for our audience as well. Are you okay to have some fun time with me?
Yes.
So the fun part of this is I'm going to play a game with you, Sunil.
Oh, my God.
And you don't have to say, my God, it's a simple game. And I'm sure you're going to really enjoy it.
Okay.
Because we're just going to use a metaphor. You talked about my trekking and how I prepare. But I'm going to take you on a trek. Because we're talking about unique purpose trails. So you have to go on a trail.
Okay.
And when you're going on a trail, you have a backpack with you. And I'm going to ask you pointed questions of what is in that backpack. And you have to give me an answer. You can give me a one-word answer, one-line answer. You can go with a little bit of narration as well.
Okay.
You have the free choice of how you want to take that question.
Let me try.
All right. So early morning, 4 o'clock, you're all set to go on a trail. And the first question comes to you is, what is in your backpack that you will never want to remove from a leadership belief perspective?
It's a tough one, huh? Never want to remove from a
Backpack. Leadership belief that you never want to remove from your backpack.
people most important asset. People is my most important asset as a leader. I never want to remove that, and I have to respect the people.
Awesome. What is one leadership habit that you would want to drop, that you have it in your backpack?
Oh, this is a tough one. I want to drop from my backpack. I have to think on this really.
You have to be light on a trek. You cannot carry everything.
Okay, one thing I will tell you, it's a little bit, I should not walk on a sticky path. That is one thing I will drop when I am on a path of trekking.
Okay.
So sticky path, yeah, I will
it?
elaborate it. I know it's a little bit psychological term. So sticky path is a process where you get into a vicious circle of negative thinking. And you keep on adding, keep on multiplying and all those things. So when I am going on something like this, I will not carry my sticky path with me. So I'll drop that.
So the spiral of your own sabotages that
sabotages,
you would want to let go. Awesome. One lesson that you would want to pick up from your America stay that you want to add to your backpack.
Aggression.
Okay. Get to the goal. Get to the summit. One lesson that is your failure that you want to keep, again, remove from your backpack, but mindfully.
I will say learning. Learning, relearning, unlearning, it's a continuous process. So I think I will keep that always there. And I have to use it judiciously, whether at this point of time I have to unlearn or learn or relearn. So I have that opportunity to play with those three terms, the three terminologies.
And we talked about values. I'm sure we can consider that as essentials on a trail in the backpack. But if you have a young trekker trekking with you on this trail, what is one early thing that you would say that young leader must pack in the backpack?
Curiosity.
Awesome.
Curiosity, and I would also say the, what do you call, open mindset. We talk about fixed mindset, variable mindset, open mindset, and curiosity. This is, if you have, I would say curiosity makes you to live and survive.
Yeah.
The day you kill your curiosity, your death is declared.
Yeah.
And this is, I am very clear on that. And this applies to a guy who is 16 years age, 70 years age, or 40 years age.
Yeah.
If you are not curious, it means you are already dead.
You stopped learning.
Stop learning.
Yeah. Awesome. Did you enjoy the game?
Yes, very much. I was on a back foot, but it's okay.
No, I loved your answers. I think there was so much to learn out of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to take this a little bit forward in terms of continuing our game in the leadership and purpose space.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah, sure.
So probably now we are going to talk about one leadership quality that the world needs more for today.
Yeah, I think we discussed that, but I would repeat it again. Empathy and kindness. This is a permanent leadership value, or whatever you want to say. You can never take it out of your backpack.
Okay.
Yes.
One leadership myth you would strongly challenge.
So I learned this in a big way. Leader knows everything. It's a big myth.
Yes.
And I must admit, I went through that for some time in my life. And then I realized it's okay not to know everything in life.
Yeah.
But that again comes awareness. So
And
this
the
is a big
curiosity
myth.
kicks
Yeah,
in
curiosity
when you
kicks
come
in.
from the fact that you don't know everything.
So never assume that you know answer as a leader, you know every single answer in the world. It's a myth.
Wonderful. One lesson of leadership that has taught you about yourself.
One very interesting thing I learned about myself is about neuroplasticity.
Tell me more.
So, neuroplasticity is a terminology used in psychology, and the past research suggested, and this is like 30 years back or 40 years back, that the development of human brain gets limited at a particular age or doesn't grow at a particular age.
Yes.
That was the past research.
Yes.
But the latest research, which was released like 15, 20 years ago, says that the human brain never stops developing. So you can keep on learning and understanding.
It doesn't
There's
matter
it doesn't
at what
matter
age you are.
what age and all those things. I think when I learned this neuroplasticity concept, it was an aha moment for me.
Oh.
I can study anything in the world. My brain is not going to be my limitation. It's me is my limitation. And I think that was the best thing to happen to me. And I still learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that time. I really enjoyed this fun section as well. We talked about psychology, anxiety, watching your own steps. But I always feel that, corporate spaces get a bit serious in the way they are. Do you see that there is a scope or a room for humor in the corporate space? And if so, how?
So interesting question, Urmila. It reminds me of emotional intelligence, right? And I'm not going to explain what is emotional intelligence, but emotion or emotional expression is a very natural to the human beings. Unfortunately, when we talk about emotion, first thing which comes to our mind is a negative emotion. That's not necessarily true. Emotions is an energy in motion. Energy can be positive, energy can be negative.
Yeah.
We have learned by default for our survival how to work or how to handle energy, negative energy. But the positive energy or expression of positive energy is natural to us. You cannot control that. And that's the beauty of emotional expression. And then comes the humor.
Yeah.
And I would say humor plays a huge part in the corporate world, even though it's not seen in the face of the organizational way they work. But I have used humor in the board meetings, in the shareholders meeting, and even I'll give one example just for. So this was an annual general meeting of shareholders of a listed company, and my chairman was sitting next to me, and I was the CEO, and chairman said that we will start our meeting sharp at 10 p.m. So he said 10 p.m. instead of 10 a.m. So I realized there's a mistake. So I said, yeah, we will start meeting at 10 a.m., but we'll end the meeting on the right note at 10 p.m. So people started laughing, but I sort of covered it very well. So humor plays a role, and I would always say that use humor as your weapon.
Wow.
And when I say weapon, I'm not saying weapon in a wrong way.
Not in an attacking way. Yeah.
But a weapon to settle down yourself, way to express your feelings without showing the arrogance.
Yeah.
So humor works very well against the arrogance, right?
Yeah.
You can lighten the situation when there's a tense environment happening in the, let's say, in a boardroom or in a brainstorming session. And humor also brings out creativity.
True.
And many people forget that one of the trigger of creativity is humor. So if you are able to bring in humor in the organization, it will definitely help in innovation, in creativity, even in performance improvement. And why all these comedy shows become so popular than the Saas Bahu serial? The main reason is, as a human being, we love to laugh.
Yeah.
And laugh is a natural way of expressing our feelings.
True.
So I would say that in the corporate world, use humor, but of course you have to be a little bit careful.
Yeah.
Because humor also changes with the culture.
Yeah, true.
So what is a humor in India may not be a humor in Europe or may not be a humor in America.
Really?
So you need to be very careful about that because humor can sometimes
Cross the line.
the line. So you have to be a little bit careful about that. But I have extensively used humor in my life, in corporate meetings, in every single place wherever I have worked. And I have been known as a, in one of the company, they designated me that you are not a chief financial officer, but we would like to call you as a chief happiness officer.
So it's a myth that people will not take you seriously if you bring in humor or if you
No.
make the room lighter.
Rather, I would say, if you use the right amount of humor, your respect will go up
Okay.
in an organization as a leader, or people will look at you from a different perspective. This guy is accessible. This guy is like me, and that connection will become much more stronger.
Awesome. So we looked at a quick snapshot of your trail, your journey for the last 30 years. We spoke about a lot of things. What's the guiding light or North Star for you?
Interesting question. I never knew the concept of North Star for a long time in my life, but I'll not get into that. But I would say that my North Star, or something like North, I don't want to define exactly what is my North Star, but I think revisiting the purpose in life at a right point of time, I think that would be my North Star. And I have very extensively worked on that. I've changed my career multiple times. I've changed my industry multiple times. I've lived in multiple countries. I've failed many times, came back to India, again gone abroad. But redefining and revisiting the purpose of your life or my life, I think that has helped me a lot. And purpose, many people have confusion how to create purpose, how to define purpose. But it's very important that your purpose is your purpose and not someone else's purpose.
Yes.
So someone can guide you how to write down a purpose statement or how to create your purpose. But at the end of the day, it's your purpose. So you need to think on that. So I create my own purpose statement every year. So when we do the goal setting at the beginning of the year, I revisit my purpose statement for this year.
This is very interesting because a lot of people believe in purpose, but they say don't revisit the purpose as often as you are doing. So it does make a different, bring in a different perspective in the sense of,
Yeah.
you need to revisit in the new context, new space.
I would say purpose is a dynamic. Purpose is never rigid. If you have a rigidity in your purpose, I think you will get stuck at a particular level.
Okay.
In a growth-driven world, corporate world, your purpose also need to grow along with you. And for that, you need to revisit your purpose. And I'm not saying revisit every 6 months or every 1 year.
Yeah.
But
At least check once.
Check once in a while, because with your age, with your education, with your experience, with your knowledge, with your wisdom, you are becoming more purposeful in the life. But you need to convince yourself that this is what I'm supposed to do and this is what I'm doing, because purpose is directly proportional to the happiness quotient.
True.
If you know your purpose, you have clarity of purpose, and you are working towards that purpose, your happiness quotient will go up. But if you're working on something without any purpose, you will do it mechanically.
Yeah.
So I think purpose is very, very important. And nowadays you have many people who can guide you, coaches can help
even
you.
Organizations conduct purpose-driven workshops and
absolutely
connect that with the organizational values and mission and all of that.
I mean, there is one theme line of my purpose which I can quote in a sense that this is one quote which remain in my lifelong. This is by Urmi, the Persian poet, 13th century Persian poet. Yesterday I was clever, I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, I want to change myself. So change myself is a purpose.
Lovely.
And I have always ensured that what is my delta on change. And I write it down. I ask my family members, do you think there is some change happening in me or not? And I even ask my friends. So I think consistency is important, change is important. And then once that basic layer of purpose is clear, then you can add on to that. Or you can have 3 layers, 2 layers. But I think it's very important to have clarity of purpose. Write it down like a vision statement companies have. You have your purpose statement. May not tell you everyone, but actually when you sit in your computer on your office table room or wherever, you should have the purpose in front of you all the time.
So purpose which is agile enough for you to grow.
Yep.
and keep doing your learning journey continuously.
Yes. And purpose can be your motivation also.
Awesome.
Purpose creates an inspiration also. Yep.
Lovely. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm not going to let you go till I get some wisdom words
Okay.
for the young and the seasoned professionals who are going to watch this show. So over to you again, Sunil, if you want to say something to our audience.
So one thing I always tell is, if you want to be a successful, and when I say successful does not mean only as a corporate leader, even as a human being, you have to take the risks. No risk, no reward. So take risk, learn from failures of the risk. So this is one mantra, risk is directly proportional to the reward. So that's number one. Number two, continuous education.
Yeah.
And I always quote this and tell this to many students, like you save money to buy a house, or like you save money to buy a Apple iPhone, save money for your self-development, which is your education, which is your skill development, and save money for your self-development, save your holidays for your personal development. So this is continuous education. And of course, again, what reminds me is Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken. Of course, I'm not going to tell you the full poem, but last two lines.
My favorite poem too.
Yeah, last two lines. Two roads diverge in the yellow woods, and I chose the one less traveled by. That has made all the difference. So choose the difficult path. Don't worry.
Yeah.
The difficult path will definitely take you to a final destination, which is what you want to. It may take a little bit more time, but take risk, continuous learning, find a mentor, and choose the right path. Maybe a difficult path, but that could be a right path.
What a lovely message, Sunil, especially to say something like this on a unique purpose trails,
Thank you.
untraveled path, take
Yes.
risk, and go with your purpose.
Yes, thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much for reiterating that in such a beautiful way. And I wish I had more time with you, but I know that you are a busy man. You're traveling, and this time that you have given me is much more precious than anything else. I would look forward to do a second episode with you someday. There is so much more to know, and I'm so curious about it as well. But for now, grateful for all that I've received, and thank you so much for everything.
Thank you very much for inviting me, Urmila. It was pleasure speaking to you, and I also learned a lot of things during this conversation from you, about you, and of course about the podcast. So thank you very much, and all the best to you. You are doing a fantastic job of creating awareness in the world, sharing the wisdom in the world, which is a great way of giving back to the society also. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sunil. It means a lot to me.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.